So welcome everyone to the how to organize a camp like HaxoGreen talk. There are not so many people, but anyway, apparently you guys are maybe interested in doing this on your own. So there are a few key things that you need to prepare for. So what's actually the point of organizing this, right? I mean, why are we here, like the organization? There are a lot of attendees that are here because it's in the summer, you want to be outside, you want to experience some new things, but what's the point in actually giving up my 3 days that we just had a talk with the streaming guy, because it took me 6 days of my off time to do this. So I got a few quotes that I managed to get in the last hours. So the first one was, it's just because of awesomeness. So the question was, why did you come here? The second one, there's another quote from that person, so he's just here to annoy me. Other people are coming here because it's the greatest camp that exists. And then they finished the sentence with until, but I didn't put that in here. Other people, like the Spark Shack people, they say that this camp is, the people here are very relaxed. So that it's very good to hear that as the organization, because then you know that people are not here because they couldn't afford to go to another camp, but they are really in a good situation, so they really like it, and maybe they couldn't afford to go to another camp, but anyway. Another one was HaxoGreen is 10 out of 10. So there was another question that is, what do people think about the freebies? So you know that this year there was a lot of stuff that was free, like mostly the free drinks, the free beer, the free food, the free ice cream, the free everything. Except for the camp itself. But I think that even like the 40 euros, kind of, you know, if you would have had the same amount of food at home, it would not have cost you a lot less money. So it's actually a very fair price. So there was one quote from the same person again, who said, the freebies are not the reason I came here, they are the reason I stayed. People did not know that there were going to be so many freebies until day 0. So day 0 is day 1 before camp. Personally, I just do like organizing these kind of things. It gives me a high level of stress, and I can work well under a continuous stress level. But let's get serious. So how can you organize a camp? What do you need for that? First, you need a team, but you also need a good team. But more than that, you need a reliable team. I did accentuate the word reliable because that is very, 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 very important. You cannot do things with people that you cannot rely on. If somebody says, I am going to be there and I'm going to organize the tents or whatever it is, then they need to do that. If they don't, you need to be able to rely on them to tell you that they will not do this. This is okay. There is no issue in people having any issues with not doing something, but they need to tell you. One reason I say this is because no team, no camp. There is no camp that you can handle with just one person. If you want to do that, you just take your tent and your sleeping bag, you go camping, and then that's it. You can call it a camp, but there's not going to be internet or any other people. Something else that is very important is not like in a hackerspace where you can have a flat hierarchy and everybody is just on the same level. That is not working for an event of this or a bigger scale. It's just not working. People need to have and take responsibilities. People need to say, okay, I'm going to take care of the tents. And then somebody needs to be able to delegate work to the people so that they can do whatever it is that they have to do, and somebody else is relying on that happening, and in case this is failing, then switch it over to somebody else or do it themselves. In order to do that, you need comms. You need a lot of comms. Communication is key. Communication is always key in a company, in a hackerspace, on a camp, everywhere. And it is especially important if you organize an event where more than 100 people, well, it's not a lot more, it's just 120, but where more than 100 people are going to be there, and they expect you to have the campsite ready when they come with their tent. And as HaxoGreen starts on Thursday, some people are already arriving on Wednesday, which is not a problem, but you cannot be building the campsite when people arrive, because people are going to ask you, where can I put my tent? And you need to be able to tell them. So to be able to finish everything up, you need to be able to trust people to have their notifications on, so that when you send out a message on Slack, because we are using Slack here for HaxoGreen, then you need to be able to rely on everybody having their notifications on and reading the message if it's during daytime. Okay, don't expect people to read the notifications 3 months in advance at 2 in the morning. When you come up with a communication tool, which for example for HaxoGreen was Slack, then you need to stick with that. There should not be any discussions about, well, we should not use Slack, you know, there is a better tool out there, let's go with that now. And then some people will be in that meeting, decide on top of the others that we're going to use another tool, and then you will end up with 2 tools to discuss things, and nobody's on all the tools, so you just can't manage people anymore. So that's not working. So you need to stick to something. I'm going to go over the teams now. So to explain you what kind of teams that we have here and what these people have to do. So let's start with power. Power is really important because there is nothing happening here without power. Power does include, in this case, gas, or it can include oil if it's an oil heating, or everything that generates power from whatever it is. So first of all, you need a power source. This is very easy for us because we've got the campsite and it's got these 2 buildings, and we can get power from these buildings to the campsite. So what you need then is cables. You need a lot of cables. We've got a sponsor that covers all the cables. So that's cool. It's easy to do. You just need to go there, get the cables and roll them out. Then you need lights, because even on the first days when you have to set up the first hack center, you want to be able to even work maybe at night. So if you have to do something, you need to see. So think about the lights, not just the disco lights. So this is what we've got here on the campsite. So we've got over 2 kilometers of power cable. We've got lots of power strips, we've got splitter boxes, we've got 64 amp of power from the buildings, and we've got 50 LED lights, which is not a lot, right? But you need to think about it, and you need to have everything, all of that prepared, because before you can start anything else. There is no need to put any effort into building a NOC if you're going to have power or not. But what can fail? And this is where it gets very interesting. So you can have big failures. So if you have a power grid outage, you can do, like, there's nothing you can do, right? There's nothing that you can do to fix the issue, except for if you have a big generator next to the building jumping in to provide emergency power. You can have power outages from fuse fails. You can have too much power consumption because there are way many villages that came here to the camp than they announced. you can have, if you have 3 or 4 villages that are going to have a pizza oven, that is not going to work out, except for if you prepare for that. Maybe the cost of power. I mean, remember the CCC camp? They did have an issue with power. They were in the middle of nowhere, so they had to put up some generators, and they were very, very limited on power. So the generators can't produce more power, and every kilowatt hour that you use costs gas. So you might also have a gas outage. We had that here on site on Thursday. Nobody noticed. And this is where we're going to go on later. But you need to be able to handle this. We did not prepare for that, but we kind of handled it. If you have heating outages, like for the showers, if you don't have hot water, that might not be an issue if everybody is from the military, okay? But you cannot expect everybody to be from that kind of environment. Next is the knock. The knock is important and needs to be up when people arrive. Some people arrived here and before registering, they just called home and said, I arrived. And they need to be able to do that. And they don't want to pay roaming because otherwise they would not have waited to get to the camp to do this. To do that, you need an ISP, so an internet service provider. But you need a good one. You don't want to end up with somebody who's going to take down your network after the first abuse mail. You also don't want to have an ISP that is going to limit the bandwidth after you've downloaded 5 gigabytes, you know. So you need somebody who's friendly, that you can rely on, and that has kind of a 24-hour support, or like the ones that we have, even come to the camp. So these are people that you want to go for. I know it might not be as easy as it sounds, but you can always find people who are really interested in these kind of things, so they will just sponsor that. Secondly, you need cables. I mean, the syndicate that organizes HaxoGreen bought 450 meters of Ethernet cable because we just couldn't come up with a sponsor. But you need to prepare for that. You can't just rely on people bringing everybody 100 meters of Ethernet cable and all connect to the NOC switch. Then you need switches. Switches, you need more than you expect that you need, because switches fail, switches get wet, switches get hot, switches just fail for whatever reason, and you need to be just able to replace them. Then you need access points. If you have a good Wi-Fi, like we have on HaxoGreen, then people are not going to use the switches, which is bad again, because you put up all the switches that nobody's using. But anyway, if the wireless fails, people are going to switch to Ethernet, and they want that to work. So these are the numbers that we have here. As said on the opening event, the 900 meter Ethernet is light, but I don't know the number. So we've got an RF link because the DSL cabling that we have here only allows us with a 30 megabits down and 10 megabits up. That's not enough. So we've got that RF link sponsored. We've got 2 data enclosed access points, public IP ranges. This is not a must. The public IP is not a must. You don't need to have that. It's funny for people to be able to just plug in their Raspberry Pi and share whatever the project is with the whole world. But that's a bonus. Next up is design. Design is important as hell. You need the design everywhere. You have it on all the signs, like the non-smoking sign that is in here. You want people to just recognize the signs that are from the event and to recognize what signs are from the participants. Because we've got signs on the data enclosed that say free internet only from 10 to 11 p.m. Yeah, I mean, people could also just make up a sign like this, right? But you need to have posters, because apparently some people, even from Trier, heard about HaxoGreen first when they were at the Congress, which is great. I mean, that means that the posters have actually worked. You need flyers. Flyers are cool to just distribute if you go to the city center and you want to attract more people, or mainly if you go to other events and you just lay them down on their info desk so that people can just see them there. Mails is important because you need to be able to just reply on all the questions. There are a lot of people who are going to ask you for press coverage. There are people who are just going to ask you, what is this? I got a mail from you, so just ignore that, that's spam. You're going to get emails about people who want a refund, everything, and you need somebody to handle that. I don't know why I put this in design. I think that design is more like communication. Then you also need to be on social media. This includes everything. You need to be on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, everything, apparently. Because you're always going to get this one person who is only on LinkedIn. And if you want to reach those people, then you need to be able to just handle this. You need banners, you need t-shirts, and that's it. But the communication thing is a long story. So you have to go around and see, where can I get the banners cheapest? When can I get the banners? Because I need them in time. Where can I get t-shirts? What are we going to print on the t-shirts? This is all stuff that sounds like a decision that you would take in 5 minutes, but it's taking a lot of time. This is a lot of preparation before the camp, and you will also need the people in charge of the design to be on site. Yesterday the streaming guy said, hey, I need pictures, because the design guy did not prepare them before the camp, so the design guy just made them on the camp. You need to be able to just come up with pictures or banners or signs whenever people need you to. Next is tickets. Tickets is very important. We built our own ticket system because we just couldn't find another good one that was accepting no credit cards, because we didn't want to pay any charges. Because if you do a camp that is 40 euros for 4 days, then you don't want to be charged with a 10% fee and 3 euros per ticket, because otherwise you will have lost 10% of the price already before it started. The people in charge of the tickets will have to manage the limit of attendees. They need to keep track of the software, whether it's working correctly or not. They need to just check it regularly and see if the limit actually worked. Because if 2 people buy the last ticket at the same time, it's kind of a hassle. We had that actually. You need to order the right t-shirts. This is important. It worked. It did not work as expected, because the ticketing system was showing the wrong t-shirt in the beginning, but we fixed that. But this is very important. I mean, if you can't afford to just buy 500 of each, then you need to rely on the ticket system that has all the information. You need to handle all the questions about the tickets. Does my ticket include free food? No, it doesn't. Does my ticket include a free flight to Las Vegas? No, it doesn't. You need to just reply to these questions. Schedule. This is something that killed us. Depending on the event, you're going to want to have more workshops or more talks. HaxoGreen is all about workshops, and there is one track of talks that is on Saturday today. But people tend to be very difficult about it. You know, it's like, if you ask them, like, hey, are you going to come with your computer? You know, like the person who contacted you for a workshop or a talks, then they're just going to not reply anymore. It's quite hard, you know. You have to get back to them, ask them, hey, does your computer have mini DisplayPort? Should we come with adapters? So you kind of prepare for all of that, but you tend to forget some things because these people will show up 5 minutes before their talk and then say, no, I don't have the right adapter. So this is where you have to just come up with a solution and get an adapter from somewhere. Same for workshops. We have some food workshops here, and people just didn't prepare them well, meaning that one, we did not know the costs because we were going to fund all the costs. Secondly, they did not ask any questions. So if you ask them like, what will you need to make that workshop happen? Will you need a pan, anything from the kitchen? Do you need gas? Will you bring all this stuff? That's kind of, they will just tell you like, oh, I need a kitchen. That's not enough, you know, like, do you need pots or not? Because we can rent them, but we don't have to if you don't need them. But yeah, I mean, you've all probably organized talks or workshops. Next up is sponsors. So we were really happy with the sponsorships that we got this year. I'm just going to show them again. We had quite a success with the sponsorship. The main reason is this is the only hacker camp that happens in Luxembourg. I mean, Luxembourg is not big. It is actually very small, but nonetheless, people are very interested in attracting people from the outside part of Luxembourg. They don't want to play a role in funding only local events. So they are really happy. Like I think, I don't know, somebody just called us the biggest hacker camp in the greater region. I don't know if that's true or not. I just said that in the sponsorship letters, and people just went for it. They gave us money. But you do need to know what you need, because otherwise you'll just get money. You can drown in money. And the thing is that if sponsors give you 2,000 euros, then you might not be able to rent the access points or switches and cables for 2,000 euros. But the same sponsor could have just given you that instead of money. If you don't prepare for that, they will give you money and then you will have two less. You know, it's not going to be enough to actually fund the camp. So this is where I'm going to talk about the core of the organization. This is mostly underestimated because it's a very tough job. They need to know who to call when stuff goes wrong. We did not have any gas on Wednesday evening. We did not have any gas on Thursday morning. And you just need to know who to call in order to get it working again. This was something that we did not prepare for. We did not know at all that they were going to cut the gas, but nonetheless we got it working again. They also need to know what is going on at the camp. So the core organization cannot unknow something. Like you can't just hide something from them. If you tell them to go and fix the network somewhere, they need to report back so that you know it's fixed, you can deal with something else now. Because otherwise, the core is just going to take care of it. They need to know to handle unknown situations. So I don't know, who was here 4 years ago? Just two? So what happens in the case of a storm? We did not know, because we did not prepare for that. We did not have any emergency plan, nothing, we did not know what to do. You know, it's like, oh, there's a storm coming, let's just close all the tents. It's kind of working until the hack center tries to fly away. That's when it's getting a little hotter and nobody knows what to do, and people are just like, should we go into that building or not? You need to just give instructions, and whether they are good or not, just stick with them. People don't like to get instructions from people who don't know what they're talking about. and to change their mind every 5 minutes. So, for example, at HaxoGreen, we've got emergency lighting for the campsite that is not connected to any of the other networks, so we can just switch that on and everything else off, and just evacuate the camp into this and the other building. We've also got lists of people, so that we can just tick them off, and then we know everybody's safe, or we've got 5 casualties. What if there's no hot water? So this is what we had this time, and what would you do? Like, there's no gas. What are you going to do? Are you just going to say, okay, we've got no hot water, let's just have cold showers? I mean, people didn't pay for hot water. What we did is we got in touch with the building owners, but we also immediately got in touch with people who rent out containers with hot showers, because we did have to come up with a solution. In case the building owners did not know what to do, then we had to just have something else ready for the evening. What happens if? There are so many questions that could pop up, and the core org cannot just say, I don't know, that's not working. Because that's the top level, and they just need to take a decision. I just resumed it to this one. They need to take a decision when everyone else wants to go back home, or to be back home. Are we going to cut the power or not? That's all of these things. We had that 4 years ago. The core organization did not know what to do. People were afraid to go back on site because they did not know if there was still power on or not, because nobody took a decision. You need to know that if the whole campsite is underwater, then you just cut the power. It's okay. Everybody knows the power is cut. They can go upstairs, get their torch, yeah. So that's it. That's all the bad stuff that you did not know about, or probably didn't know about, that is happening behind the scenes. And I am very happy to have all these quotes from the beginning that show us that this does not go to the attendees. And this is also a very important layer. We had people from staff on Thursday morning talking about the gas situation in the hack center, and we just decided to tell them to shut off and go outside, talk about it somewhere else. Because if attendees get to know that there is no gas and there are no hot showers, then random stuff is going to appear on IRC, and this is not good, because 15 minutes later we had the situation handled. But these guys did not know that. This is all the stuff that goes on behind the scenes. So if you have any questions about what happened here on HaxoGreen, you can ask them. I'm just going to fully disclose everything. Yes?
Did you have to handle with emergency services in advance? So ambulance or fireworks?
In advance, no. Like last camp, we contacted the fire department, and they said, "Oh, that's okay. That's not enough people for us to do something special."
Okay, that's nice.
I mean, it's okay. I do understand it. I mean, if we want to have an ambulance on site, we need to pay them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And nothing has happened all these years. And if something happens, they will be here in, I don't know, 5 to 10 minutes latest.
Mm-hmm.
They're still volunteers, but it's working quite well.
How much can you prepare? Like, you want to test, verify that stuff operates and it works and things are in place. Are there things that you can prepare prior to the event, or?
Well, considering, I don't know what the question is about, like if it's about the knock or everything.
General.
Okay, let's talk about the knock first. The knock, for example, could tell the sponsors to not give them the equipment on the day that the event starts. That's helping. They could also just prepare all the switches and know that some switches are broken in before the camp happens. For everything else, like, we did come to the campsite with the idea of not having that lounge there. That was not planned. There was no ship, there was no lounge, nothing was there a month before the camp. They just put that up for their event, and then we had to deal with it. So this is where you just have to take a decision on, let's just put the hack center here and then deal with it. It was not good because we knew that we were going to have the village of Haxar, which is quite big, which was supposed to be bigger than this, but they shrinked it down. But yeah, we kind of managed to handle this, even though we still have 100 people here. And I think that 105 people have registered up to now that are on site. And yeah, the first people that arrived were happily villages, and after that no more villages appeared. Because when we had 50 people, I think that was Thursday evening, the camp was half full. And that's not okay when you're expecting 70 more people. But yeah, happily these people were sleeping in other tents or together, or there were no more villages, I don't know, but it worked out. We did shrink down the camp to 120 people though, from 140, which was the limit 4 years ago and 2 years ago, because we just couldn't handle all the people anymore. It's just a lot of people, and if you have 20 people less, then that makes things way easier. Like in considering that if you really want to fill the grass, then you need somebody to tell the people where to put their tents, and you need somebody to coordinate that. If you don't have that person, then you need to just shrink down the limit.
What would you say is the amount of volunteers or crew maybe that you need?
That you would need? That's a tough question, because we are running this camp here without external volunteers, right? So we have like the core of the camp runs on only people from Syndicate, so from the Hackspace, and 3 more people that are not members of any Hackspace, and 2 more people from the Hackspace in the Netherlands. Besides that, we've got a few things, like you are doing the streaming, which is very cool because we don't know how to do that. Then we've also got the Haxa who just took over the cooking. So we are providing them with the food, and they cook, and they have some volunteers. But we are not actively looking for volunteers from outside to, for example, handle the info desk. The reason why we are not doing that is also lack of people who know how to coordinate. Like, it's difficult. Like, if you want volunteers from outside to do the info desk, then you need to teach them how to do that properly. You don't want cash missing afterwards. You don't want free drinks everywhere. Well, we do have free drinks, but anyway. But that's the things, you know. Like, and you will always need to have 2 volunteers so that you have one looking after the other person, because you need to build up the trust level, and it's kind of hard. But if you have people who manage to just take over one job and stick for that, like if there had been a person who said 1 year ago, I'm going to do the info desk and handle all the giving out the bags and doing the bar, and I'm also going to teach volunteers on how to do that, then we could have done that, but we didn't have that commitment. So if you have this commitment, this level of commitment, where you have this one person who is going to just write everything down and going to be able to just do it, then you can do this. If you have this fluid organization, and this is kind of the fact here at HaxoGreen, if you have this fluid organization where everybody kind of does everything, but some people have their specifications, you know, then it's kind of hard to teach people on how to do the info desk. For example, 5 minutes before my talk, I was alone at the info desk, so I had to call for someone to just magically show up because I had to give this talk. So that's the things that you can't really prepare, because I mean, somebody could get sick. So this would be very, very bad, Because like, let's say half of the organization gets sick, then we don't even have volunteers who have been taught on the first day on how to take over the info desk. Yes.
Which tools do you use internally, apart from Slack, to communicate or to create documents or collaboration platforms?
So, for example, for the budget, we do use Google Drive, Google Docs, because we've got 2 people who have write access and all the others have read access. You want to have tools where you can limit the access rights. The budget is very, very important on that. You want people to be able to hand in invoices, but you don't want everybody to just click and change things in the budget. Right now, at this stage, we've got, I could show that afterwards, I think we've got 1,500 US left, net worth. That is not a lot, because we came down from 6,000 on Thursday, but we gave everything away, and we also bought a lot of stuff. But yeah, so we use Slack for communication, because it's very easy also for outsiders, like the dude from the NOC that is from Holland. So he just made an account and he joined the thing, and you can just see everything that's happening on these channels, and you can I think you can limit access, but you would have to pay for it. We don't do that. But everybody knows kind of what's happening, but everybody is in his own channel. So people just talk to their people, and the core just looks for everything and just checks if everything's all right. You had another question?
Yeah, what's the rough time frame to organize this event? Did you start 1 year ago or earlier?
So we reserved the campsite 6 days after the last camp.
Okay.
So that will make it 2 years ago. Yeah. But then nothing happened until a year later. That was, I think, May last year, where we sent letters to sponsors. We finished, no, that was even earlier. I think we finished the sponsorship in around, April or May last year, and we had the first batch of flyers and posters printed in June. So yeah, that would make it April last year, so a year and 4 months in advance.
When's the next one?
The next one is going to be in 2 years. It's a bi-yearly? No, 2-year thing. It's every 2 years. The reason for that is very simple. I think next year, SHA 2017 is supposed to happen. And then in 2 years it will be our turn again. And then in 3 years there is the CCC again. So we don't want to conflict with those, because we can't just keep up with them. I mean, CCC is 6,000 people, something. SHA, I don't know. Is it also as big?
4,000.
Yeah, 4,000. This is not on our scale. So people are just going to run there, and they're going to run away from this. I've heard some people saying that HaxoGreen 2016 is going to be remembered as the camp with all the freebies. I think you're quite happy about that, right? All the free drinks. Okay. I should actually move over to the next presentation.